Anyway, and we're back.
And we're here.
Welcome to Meet in the Middle. We've got my brother, Anthony.
I'm back. Hello, Mike.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And thank God we got the team back together. Shane, how you been, buddy?
Yeah,
You've been gone
nice
for a
to
while.
see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Gang's all here. I'm excited.
I took a spot.
We missed you, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's my first time with the originals.
And Ben shaved.
I shaved.
I like it, but like you should have just kept it for Christmas, man.
It just becomes kind of overwhelming. Like I hate having it just catches food and
Kids running up to you asking for things.
You like a
no,
homeless
they usually
look.
like run the other way. Like especially if I'm driving a van, you know, they're like,
God, things have changed. Things have
Oh
changed.
my God. Well, today I want to talk about growing up poor in America. Since I participated in that.
We.
And I didn't know, Shane, you grew up,
Yeah,
You know, on the lower
I
end of
definitely grew up on the low end of income. Northeastern Pennsylvania, where I'm from, Wilkes-Barre,
wow.
Scranton, it was a coal mining town, a boom town during the coal mining era, but it was extremely economically depressed. It had a rough go in the 80s. I was born in 78, so growing up in the 80s and early 90s in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, chances are everybody was pretty much poor.
everybody was.
Yeah.
Joe Biden used to live there, I heard.
He's a great man.
Yeah.
And then, Ben, you didn't grow up poor.
nope.
But you're on the show anyway because we'd like to hear
He
your
wants to make
opinion.
fun of
you
us.
want to
Yeah.
see how the other
I
half
want to see how
lived?
the other half lived.
I'm going to be pretty quiet. I
Okay.
think
If he
throughout
giggles.
this. I feel a bit uncomfortable, but yeah, I can definitely share what it was like to not be poor growing up.
Like when you went to public school, did kids make fun of you for anything?
It's kind of
yeah,
poor.
yeah.
What did they make fun of you for?
Yeah, well, I mean, plenty of things. The most memorable was like I would get made fun of for having more than one pair of shoes at a time.
Oh, God.
Like
That's
that,
crazy.
like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like
Look
at
at
the
this
time, I was
loser
like,
with two pair of
Yeah.
shoes.
Flip
well, no,
side is-
but the thing was, it wasn't like you loser or anything like that. It was like, damn, who's got two pairs of shoes? You know, like
Mr.
trying
Cool
to like,
guy. Yeah.
no,
Think you're better than me,
like kind of like
bitch?
razzing you for
Do you want to hear the
for
flip
having
side?
stuff.
You
You
want to
know,
hear the flip side to that?
So that
'Cause
was
I have a
weird.
story to that. Flip side to that is my younger brother once had to go to school with two of the same pair, like the left side. Yep, remember? He went to school with only the lefts on.
Do you know why?
Why? I forgot.
Because my mom used to work at Marshall's.
Oh, that's right.
She worked like 3 jobs, raising 6 kids.
Alone.
And in Marshall's, they'd have fucking boxes of shoes. And she picked up 2 lefts
By accident.
by accident. And he wore it for like a week until someone realized this poor kid had 2 lefts on.
That's
And
how poor.
I remember
Difference.
like looking at it, but I remember having the same shoe for like 2-3 years, and gluing the sole
They would
back
fall.
on.
The
Yeah.
sole would fall off.
Yeah, and I'd have to glue that fucker on. Yeah, it was pretty funny. But I don't think I know there's some good stories when we're
I find the
younger.
humor in it. I do find the humor.
Tell me a couple of your stories because I can't really find any that I think are funny.
Off the top of my head, some of the good ones, I just forgot them. No,
Yeah.
I like the
Mom liked the cat more.
the cat mom. There was a point in our life where mom, I felt liked the cat more simply because we weren't allowed to piss all over the carpet.
The cat was.
And some people grow up poor and they're like, but we didn't. We were happy. We knew we were poor.
Oh yeah.
We knew we were very poor. And it was, but my mom tried so hard. And she, we always had Sunday meals.
We had a roof.
We always had Sunday meals. Christmas was a playground. My mom was the queen of layaway. Remember layaway?
Mm.
And all year long, she would get things and put it on layaway. And she worked at the stores that had a lot of the toys. So we would wake up and 6 children would have, no joke, the whole room was toys. Remember one year I got the whole Thundercat series
Oh wow,
with the castle?
that's amazing.
my
I do
bro- and
remember
my brothers
Christmas
broke
being a
that.
big deal, even poor. Like my mom was a nurse's aide growing up, and like my father worked factory jobs when I was very young, and we finally like raised out of like having food stamps and stuff like that when he got a job as a prison guard. So he got a strong union job as a prison guard, and that like got us to the point where we could have a little bit more. But I do remember that like it was like where we went and got a new car for the first time.
Whoa.
I was like 12 or 13 years old.
That sounds rich to
Yeah,
me.
And you had both parents.
We had a lot of cars in the driveway.
Whoa, dude.
No,
we
but
had
like
a lot
when I
of
was
cars in
younger,
the
I can
driveway.
remember that.
None of
And
them
I
worked.
was such a bad kid. I went to public school, and in fourth grade, I set the seat of the bus on fire on the way home. And they were like, that's it, you're going to Catholic school. So I went to Catholic school after that. But Catholic school, there was like 10. In Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, there was a Catholic church and a bar on every other fucking corner. No other businesses, but there was a Catholic church and a bar everywhere. So there was like 7 different Catholic schools to choose from, and there was one right over the hill from my house. And I went there, and it was like $50 a month back then for the kids to go to Catholic school. So a lot of the poor kids went there. It didn't have the same distinction as it does now.
Yeah.
But I could remember like very much so everyone kind of being poor. It wasn't until really I got to high school and they made a sacrifice for me to go to the Catholic high school where I really realized, wait a minute, everybody in my end of town is kind of poor.
Yeah, we were in Toms River, New Jersey, which really was kind of a working class area. And most people, I don't think were wealthy. I remember 1 or 2 friends were kind of wealthier. But what do you think? They were kind of like upper middle class?
It was upper middle class, and then we had areas that were definitely upper
for
class.
sure.
And so it wasn't like we're in this environment where everybody was the same. We were the poorest family in our entire neighborhood.
And that we were big in the
by
church.
far.
And like we were big in the Catholic Church and also St. Joseph's. And I remember distinctly every year they would have the food drive during Thanksgiving, which is like now. They would have the food drive and we would collect cans around the house and we'd bring it in, and everything. We would get the box
of the food
of all the food. They would give it to the poorest parishioner, and we got the boxes all the time.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
And it's like, wow. Yeah, but Mike though kind of didn't seem poor. You always had a starter jacket. Remember the starter jackets?
I
And
had
you
a
always
job.
kind
Did
of
you
kept
steal
yourself, and he kept himself polished all the time. Whereas like, I just wore Mike's clothes from 2 years prior and things like that. But I always thought Mike kind of played the part where he could fit in anywhere. But
Well,
like my younger brother is
I
not
fit
so
in,
much.
I fit in fine, but I worked. I had my little landscape company, and I would sell candy at school, and I made a little bit of money. But
So you always had that entrepreneurial spirit even when you were younger?
yeah,
per
I
se?
mean, I knew I wasn't getting clothes or new shoes, so I'd have to go buy
you had
it
to hustle.
myself. I hustled and got it done. But it helped define and make everything that we're experiencing now mean more. But I don't think poor is just financial. I think poor is more defined by not just financial constraints, but family structure. Do you have both your parents?
Yeah.
Is there trauma in the house? Was there drug and alcohol use?
Check.
Is there
Check.
love
Check.
or lack thereof? And what's the overall energy in the home
Yeah.
and parenting? And that's, in my opinion, wealthy and poor. So today it's not really money. I could be middle class right now and I have a very wealthy home because I overcame a lot of shit. So, or you can be super wealthy and you're checking boxes on everything else. You got dysfunctional parents and drug use, and they're fucking mean to you and abusive and negative energy. And
Got kicked
you grew
out
up
of
in
the
a
yacht
poor
club.
environment. So it's not just financial. I look at it as everything.
That's interesting, but it's really a good way to look at it because looking back now at my home, everybody that I grew up with, there was a lot of drug use, there was a lot of alcohol abuse. And the other thing that I think this is one of those things that I realized I was relatively poor growing up. We never had babysitters for anything.
No,
like if our
neither we,
parents went anywhere, if they were going to a fucking party at a bar or whatever, the kids would like stand outside and like they'd find a way to like do that. Or if they went to a party somewhere, it'd be like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I could remember like as a young kid, like hanging out with a bunch of other kids, like falling asleep in the house and shit like that, because that's just what they did. I don't know if it was, I always thought it was the 80s culture at the time, but it also was, we don't have money to pay for a babysitter. You're fucking coming with us.
We definitely went to
wherever
the
we
pubs
go.
once during St. Patty's Day.
Yeah.
We'd go to
was that Kathy's
CJ's
bar?
pub.
Cookie's bar. I remember
The pub, yeah.
Me and my brother sitting in the back when we were kids,
Like with
and it was St. Patrick's
corned
Day.
beef and
And
cabbage sandwiches.
They'd stick us in the back of the bar in
And
the
my mom-
room,
and they'd get wasted.
and we'd eat corned beef, and like everyone would be like, my mom would be drunk, everybody would be drunk, having a good time. But that didn't happen very often.
No, that was once
only
a
on
year.
St.
But
Patrick's.
but like you said though, like we would have friends who were part of the upper class or upper middle class or whatever. And most of them were very envious of our family. They loved being around our family. My friends loved our, like mom and loved our family. Like I think we were very wealthy in the terms of, my mom had 6 children, so there was it was a fun place to be. Come over if you want to knock down a wall, you know, like
there's freedom in poverty.
I was the older brother. It was my 4 younger brothers.
3 younger brothers.
3 younger brothers. Sorry, there's 4 of us, and then I have an older brother and older sister. But
we would destroy everything.
These 3 kids would destroy the house. So, and I was very about like I would do the lawn and I would clean and I wanted the house presentable. And like I had 3 younger brothers that were psychos. And they would get hammers and punch fucking holes in walls and dump paint and like the door would be off the and I'm like, all my toys are broken. And
we once
steal my clothes and I'm like, dude, I can't wait to get.
So did you assume the role of parent? Is it safe to say that you kind of
No, Mike didn't really. Mike wasn't that. He would not be there. He would go hang out with his friends.
I would go live at my friend's house. Like I'd live at my friend's house for weeks at a time.
He would collect Matchbox cars and Hot Wheels and stuff, and he'd leave, and it was more the 2 younger ones. It wasn't really me as much. I was in my own little world, but and we would take a hammer and literally just smash them all for fun. You know that was part of the, and Mike would come back to it, or like we found my mom's record collection, and now thinking back, like she had like original Sinatras, and we would frisbee them. We thought they were frisbees.
Oh my God.
Like we were very, very, very destructive, very, but you know. It was fun-ish. But looking back at it, I'm like, oof. Yeah, we weren't the best kids at all.
Well, I mean, just knowing our situation and knowing mom was trying the best she could.
She did an amazing job.
She did a great job, but I knew I didn't want that for my family.
Yeah.
And leveling up in America is actually really, really hard. And I actually pulled some statistics here. So there's 7 levels of like wealth in America. So poverty right now is considered $35,000 or less household income. That was basically us, level 1 when we were kids. Working class, lower income, $35,000 to $55,000 a year. That's level 2. Middle class, $55,000 to $100,000 a year. 4 is upper middle class. This is the top 20%, 100 to 180. Level 5 is wealthy, top 10%, 180 to 250. Level 6 is the top 5%, high net worth, 250 to 400 a year. And then level 7 is the top 1%, 500,000 plus a year with millions in assets.
And that's now.
This is today.
Okay. Yeah, because in the 80s, I mean, I think mom was probably pulling 18, something like that. I remember it being under 20.
But just here's the real statistics that I pulled. To go from level 1, which is poverty, making 35 grand a year, to level 2, making 35 to 55, you have a 40% chance of doing that. That means 60% of the people that grew up in our
will never
don't even get out of level 1.
I'm sure
it just continues. And then as you move up to go from like level 1 to level 2 or level 3 or level 4, like it just the odds go down and down and down. So I kind of put together, not to be a douche, but like I'm at level 7. So like to go from level 1 to level 7, it's 0.02 to 0.05% chance.
So can you go back up? I want to see where I am.
1 in 5,000%. Like 1 in 5,000 people. So it's really hard. And just to go from level 1 to like level 4, which is like upper middle class, you only have a 4% chance.
What are the levels
4%
again?
chance. Like 4% of the population actually makes it there. So as I was researching this, I'm like, what the fuck did I do to get the hell from level 1 to level 7, which basically is like a miracle, right? And it's like a statistic miracle. But going from like poverty, this is like, here's straight odds. Working class poverty, level 1, to just wealthy top 10%, it's 1% chance. Like that's fucking hard, dude.
Yeah.
So it's just really hard because you don't have all the advantages. But in reality, they blame the advantages. They blame your skin color. They blame your education. They blame this and that and that. No one gave me a job because of my fucking skin color. And I dropped out of college, right? And so,
but no one didn't give you a job because of your skin color.
Well, we don't know that, but I know they I know they didn't give me a job because of my skin color, because there was African Americans working there that were my boss. So no one was fucking racist in the small firm that I.
But they were your boss.
No,
they were the hiring one.
No, they were a VP there, but they didn't own the company. They didn't hire me.
Do you think that it's because of where, like the era of us growing up?
No, so I wanted to, because I kind of wrote down 10 things that I thought I did that helped me get out of this. And some of these
I'm very interested to hear this.
Yeah, some of these things I didn't realize until I was 37, 38. So I made a bunch of money in my early 20s, and then I lost it in the recession and actually filed bankruptcy and had to make it all back. And during that period, I had the leukemia thing, and I started doing ayahuasca, and it really opened up my mind where I had this realization that everything is created in your mind, in your intentions. And if you really, really believe something, that your mind is the magic. It's not a magic wand that we were taught when we were kids. It's your fucking mind. So if you really believe and you manifest and you work towards it, reality shapes to your mind and your thoughts. And I literally learned this like about 12 years ago. And my not just my income went through the fucking roof, because it's just like I don't care about money anymore, and it just came. But it cleared all my trauma and like really just completely changed my life, where all of those things that I think are a wealthy home, I really wanted for my family. I wanted for my relationship with my wife. So I don't want to bore you guys, but I'm going to talk about my 10 steps, and maybe I'll skip a few of them. But one was acknowledging the past without living in it. And so you can't break what you refuse to name, right? And recognizing trauma and patterns and beliefs that were passed down to me, not to blame, but to free yourself. And that was a big thing that I just mentally went through when I was doing my ayahuasca, was just to get rid of my past and acknowledge it. And forgive what you can't change, right? That was huge for me. Forgiveness is not approval. It's a release, like get it off of me. So that was another thing that I did. Because when you let go of your bitterness, you make room for clarity, strength, and peace. And I think that was a big part of me just like stepping up and realizing that like, that was just a test, man. I was born in that situation as a big fucking, hey, dude, there you go. Good luck on that one, right? You have you have like less than, you have a 60% chance of like staying there in that environment, which is very negative. And then once I got through that trauma and everything, I can establish a vision for my life. Like, who do I want to be? Trauma created a lot of confusion for me.
It's great that you made this the first step, because I think this is really what keeps a lot of people wherever it is that they started with. Yeah. Because I know so many people, like almost everyone I grew up with still lives in my hometown. And the biggest thing is that they're stuck with the idea that this is all that they can accept in their life. And they have a lot of excuses for what they blame their situation on. Yeah. It could have been something that happened when they were 12 years old, and these people are 40 now, and they're still talking about, well, I had it this way. And we're stuck in that mindset that this is the only thing that we can do because this is where we come from. So you're right about that component to it. Like if you can envision and truly believe that this is what I'm going to be, your mind starts to tell you, well, these are the things you need to do to get to that place. And one of them is like, you got to move away from home, or you got to make these sacrifices. And most people are not willing to let go of that, what's comfortable, to make those sacrifices to move anywhere else. And that's probably why those statistics look so skewed going from the very bottom. Because if you grow up on food stamps or you grow up in poverty, it's what you know. It's what everyone around you sees, and you don't see an alternative without a lot of sacrifice and a lot of going out on your own without any sort of safety net around you.
And I think it's getting worse in the sense that culturally in society, people almost feel like we're being labeled so easily and everyone's put in a box. We're missing, like in the 80s and stuff, you kind of like, you had this this feeling of pick yourself up from the bootstraps, like American dream. You could do it. It's for everybody. Now I don't really hear it anymore.
They're teaching,
well, people are disenfranchised.
They're disenfranchised, but they're not being pushed.
It's so far out of reach for so many people now. Like it used to be like if my parents didn't go to college, neither one of them had a college degree or were educated. It was like, I want to have a good job. I want to have a stable family so that I could send my kids to college so that they can be successful. Now that's not even that, a lot of times it's almost the opposite now. Like maybe they shouldn't go to college and incur all of this debt and then go out and still not be in a place where they're going to demand a higher salary or really understand. Like you can go out and just work for it, and sometimes you'll make it depending upon what industry you're in.
Right.
And I not to like belabor it or get stuck in today, because I wanted to look back on like how the hell did I get here, right? And that's why I sat here for like 4 hours and wrote this. But we live in an excuse world now where there's always an excuse. It's your skin color, it's your sex, it's your orientation, it's your poor, you didn't go to college. Instead of teaching people that, hey, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You have to believe it. And like these 10 steps, when I wrote, I'm like, dude, I should write a little book.
You should.
I think they're pretty good.
That's great.
So the next one is establishing your vision. As soon as you get rid of family trauma, because that's passed down genetically, it's not just your experience. It's in your freaking DNA. So trauma is like in you. It's bred into you. You have to get rid of that. Once you do that, who do I want to be? Like, what's the vision for myself, right? What do I want my finances, my relationship, my faith, my family? Do I want a family? What's my character like, right? A clear vision becomes the anchor that trauma can no longer shake. I thought that's perfect for number 3, right? That's establishing who you want to be. I think building a relationship with a higher power also helps, because it's very clear to me that there's a higher power and you need to align with it. Now, I can sit here and be bitter, have all the trauma, and not believe in God, and I can be a fucking billionaire. But I will not be wealthy. I will not have love. I will not have a soul that elevates. I will not have a good family, and I will not pass down to my children good energy and light. So I think believing in a higher power and building that as part of your foundation in prayer and meditation and intentions, fucking game changer, man. That leveled me up big time.
And higher power could be many different things, right? Well, it's not a Christian God or something.
Yeah, whatever you want to believe in, but I believe that
something bigger than you.
This isn't random chance. We're not just random fucking cells sitting here. And
well, I think it's foundational in so many like beliefs, and not just like from religion to AA. I mean, everything has give away the pressure and put something on someone else or something else to lift you up, kind of thing. Is that like?
Yeah, I mean, you can't rise far in life if you doubt the one that created you, right?
Yes.
I think you'll still be. I think regardless of where you end up, if you don't have a higher power, you will still feel lost.
You're never complete. You can have all the money in the world. Yeah. You can have all the ecstasy through drugs and sex and experience, and you're still going to be missing something.
Yeah.
And honestly, I fell away from God for many years in my 20s, and I felt so empty. Like I just did. And when I found like, man, when I turned back to God, that was part of my like recovery and my leveling up. And it's important. I teach it to the kids all the time. So it was really important.
I've met so many wealthy people here in the desert. Ever since I've been out here, like I'm one level below you, Mike. And I always thought like I would feel like, oh, I made it, from where I came from. And out here, it's like being poor. It's like
isn't it weird? Yeah.
In Southern California in the desert, if you're in that we've made $400,000 a couple times over the last few years, Marilyn and my wife and I together, which is like
crazy.
It's crazy. But out here, you're just like, oh, like
I'm middle class.
You're like, you're keys, sir.
Yeah. But I have met people and that's in the stratosphere in comparison to where I'm at, and some of them seem really happy and content with their lives, and others like they're miserable, you'd think
miserable.
If they weren't driving the whatever car, you would think that they were on the bottom of the totem pole, because that's the kind of energy they have.
Right.
They have poor
it's what
energy.
You prioritize, and and it's things like wealth. Monetary wealth is is quite a skin deep thing. It really,
sure.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I'm several notches below all. If I make $100,000, I've had an extremely good year. And but yet I travel the world.
Yeah, you're by yourself.
I have well, I was not by myself for many years. I still.
No, but you don't have any.
I don't have kids. I have 2 dogs. And they eat Costco chicken. They're not cheap. And but I travel the world. I live on my own. I have a good life. I have some good friends there, somewhat, And so I think what I lack financially, I think I make up in everything else. In the last few weeks, months, when I started getting a little bit more spiritual, more religious, reading a lot more. I definitely found that to be even more, because that I went to and went, wait a minute, this isn't that bad. I'm pretty good. Before I was reading.
I'm not going to hell right away.
I'm like, oh, wait a minute. You say you and me. I go, what? No, it's good. Because when I die, there's less to split up. No infighting. It makes me feel good. Not having anyone to take my stuff or pay off the government.
But as you're leveling up, you mentioned one thing, like you have some good friends and bad friends. I started surrounding myself with healthy, strong people as I was trying to come out of that. And
that's why me and Ben are here.
You can't, but honestly, you can't heal in the same environment that broke you, right? Or the same environment that you grew up in. So I seek not only friendship and mentors and a lot of business partners I have in different stuff, because they could add to me. I can learn from them. It wasn't just their credit lines or their money, but it was more their experience and what they could teach me, because they made a bunch of mistakes and I don't want to make them. So they'd say, well, hold up, we're not buying that because of this, right?
You said to me once on those lines about when you change yourself, when you start changing it's surprising how people just disappear who meant the world to you.
Yeah, they're gone.
They're gone. And all of a sudden you said, I woke up one day, I looked around, who the fuck are all these friends? Who are these people? Like, where'd they come from? Well, it's that whole like frequency, people are around the same frequency. They're around, it's magnetism. And
you gravitate to people that are either like you or you can learn from. I think that really is what it's about. There's so many wealthy people out here, but it's not that you automatically want to just gravitate to them. You're drawn to people that have something that interests you or you can learn something from. That really is true.
But it's hard, right? It's hard to like stop hanging out with those friends that are bad influences. Yeah. It's hard to give up a friendship with a friend that you had since high school because you're just at different levels.
I don't know if it happens to you, but immediately when I go back home to Pennsylvania, which I don't do very often, but I like it's like a fucking switch. Right. And you turn into that. You speak the way that you
go right back to it.
It comes back.
Yeah, you're like ready. You're ready to go to the corner bar. You're ready to like. Anything. And it's just the same shit. It's so easy to fall into the same routine because it's comforting.
It's very comfortable.
And nostalgic.
And to be able to try to befriend somebody that you might feel intimidated by. Like all my partners are way older than me. Most of them. 90% of them. And
most of mine are much younger.
I have to feel confident to say I'm at their level.
Legal, but
but I'm at I'm at their level, right? We can be partners.
Yeah.
I don't work for you. Like so my waking up is like, I don't want to be a broker anymore. I want to be the principal. How do I get there? Right? Well, I got to be on par with my best clients. And now we own buildings together. So that was important. I think developing emotional strength, which I continue to.
Was that hard in the beginning to feel like I have to be in the room and be equals with this like person? Like, did you have to pretend that you felt that way, or did it just come to you?
I just had I had to add value to something that they were lacking, and I had a lot of knowledge in investments. Like they came to me to get the best investments. So if I were able to grab those investments for me and then bring them to them and say, "Do you want to be my partner on this?" It's an escrow. And it's twice the return you're going to get on your last purchase. Why the fuck wouldn't they do that? And I'm going to do all the work and I'm going to put up half the money. Yes, absolutely, I'm in. And before you know it, I'm like, okay, cool. Can you apply for the bank loan? Because like, right? And that was my first couple deals, right? And they'd be like, oh, no worries. I own a bank, right? I'm on the board, right? That was one of my partners. I'm like, cool, yeah, we got the loan, no problem. So that was a big step, and it helped a lot. And emotional strength is really important, and communication skills. And that's not just in business, but it's, with my wife and with my kids, and being able to communicate properly on all levels, on a maturity level that never holds anything inside. And I can't, like, if we got in an argument, you said something right now that I really just was offended by, I would probably think about it for a minute and I would grab you and we go talk in the room because I couldn't go home.
Yeah.
Because literally I think about it all night and like I drive myself nuts. I used to just bury it down and get angry. They used to call me Angry Mike. I had the worst temper because I would just bury everything. And now
broke holes in so many walls.
Now it's like as soon as somebody says something or disrespects me, it's like, no, what did you say? Come here.
You have to address it immediately.
You don't talk to me that way. Yeah. And it's getting that energy and taking it in and pushing it right back out.
Mike, you've really let go of your Irish heritage, and I'm really not. I'm a little embarrassed, actually. No, I'm the only one holding on to that Irish trauma.
Into your life at home with family. And I think this is probably something for all the people that are watching. Like, I know there's a lot of successful businessmen out there that feel like their family life is lacking because they put so much effort into being successful in whatever business or whatever work they're doing. So how do you translate that like personality that has to take charge of every room? How do you translate that into like being a present husband and father? And it's like almost like it's very difficult, I think, for some people that are always in charge to go home and have an equal in-house and not run their home like they run their business.
This was a big problem for me for a long time. Like I just worked and was completely not present when I'd go home. And
what changed about
therapy? Honestly, yeah, got a therapist, worked on it personally for a few years, and Samara and I have been doing it as like a couple for a long time. It's helped tremendously. I mean, I'm not as productive. I'm not as financially successful anymore because I'm not like burning it to the ground all the time.
But you're content?
My life,
happy?
Well, no, I'll never be content, but my life is much more fulfilling.
You're present at home now.
I'm present at home. Yeah, like
it's so easy to check out.
It used to be I would come home or be at home, but like my mind wasn't at home. My mind was always somewhere else, and that has been a very positive change in my life.
That's good. That's good advice because I get accused of this a lot because I'm always working or thinking about the next thing that I can do. And it's like when you're working, when you found a way to generate some money on the internet, it's like you're always on your phone. Yeah. So you get yelled at, like, what are you doing? You're just playing on your phone. And then I have to remind her, I'm not playing on my phone. I did make money doing this today, but it's one of those things like I have to I have to.
That OnlyFans is working out for you.
I'm working it.
Taking a picture of your foot.
Yeah, I was just going to say, those feet. No,
peanut butter's all over his toes.
That's funny. Like to go back a little bit, it's funny. It popped in my head when we were talking about like friends come, friends go, or you have to be in the room with the people that you want to be with or, make money, or whatever, be successful with. I popped in my head that there was a time when I was the guy on the outside, when my friends from high school, and some of them, were going to another level and I wasn't, and I couldn't keep up. And they were there's this weird crossover part where they're like, hey, we're going to Mexico, we're going to Cancun, and I could not afford it. I was like waiting tables. And I found myself like struggling to keep up with them. And I think they were trying really hard to be like kicking me in the ass. Like, let's go, Anthony, let's go. You're smart. And I just didn't do it. And then they just disappeared out of my life. And now they're kind of trickling back a little bit. And they're wildly successful and all that. But it's odd that I was on the other side of that, Kind of weird.
What's weird is I don't really identify with that so much because pretty much my whole life, my friends, not all of them, but all of the friends that I've had that have mattered, I built all of those friendships on like a more intimate emotional basis. Like we just had very similar thoughts about experience, like life, right? Like just the way that we saw the world and the way that it made us feel. And like one of my closest friends, Johnny, like we've had wildly different life experiences. And we still talk like probably every quarter.
We could always,
we're still really close, even though our paths have been so divergent. And I feel like really fortunate for that. I mean, of course, I would say like I've had, of course, friends like come and go, but it hasn't really been so much like a trajectory based thing. It's just like a day-to-day interest kind of like we're not interested in the same
stuff. And that's what I mean.
Anymore.
Is like we still are friends. We're friends, but we're definitely not, we're on friends on a different, we're on that level of like, I could always call them up and it's like, we never stopped the conversation, but I just, you know, I never had the nice new cars. I'm not going on awesome trips. I'm not, you know, you know, we have a certain connection that we always will have, but yeah, and I remember that was a tough feeling. Well, being the guy who was being left behind. Because we grew up under the same roof with the same generational trauma and all that stuff. And it's funny how 2 years separates us, but Mike is the golden child of the family now, you know, everyone, it's honestly like, whereas there was a moment where I was in the military and I was the golden child. Everyone loved Anthony. He's going to Iraq, you know, but it was just, we had different paths and all that. But I think it's strictly because I relate to it. People, I heard this somewhere, some VA counselor told me years ago that most people have a fear of failure that pushes them. I have a fear of success. I have trauma on the PTSD side. I've basically survivor's guilt, where I went to war and I saw a lot of people lose a lot of stuff, and I didn't. So I didn't feel I deserved anything. I didn't deserve wealth. I didn't deserve success. Why did, you know, all this stuff? There was a time where I didn't even get my benefits in the VA. My mom was like, you deserve this just like anyone else. I'm like, no, I don't. I have you have no idea what they went through. You know, so there's ways of like getting stuck in this trauma thing. I need more ayahuasca, Mike. What the heck? Send me back to Peru.
So now getting back to my top 10 that I put together this afternoon. Number 8, as you're just progressing forward, you have to have financial literacy and discipline. And honestly, you got to learn to master money and not let money master you. And it sounds cheesy, but I didn't know how to budget. No one taught me how to save or invest or how to value anything. Like literally, I was blind to what money is.
If you grow up in that first tier, you don't ever hear anything about investing on
school's not going to teach you things like
that.
And
even in college, this is the one gripe I had about pharmacy school. It's supposed to be a professional degree. You go to school for 8 years now and get a doctor of pharmacy degree. There is not one class that teaches you financial literacy of any kind.
You're a pharmacist.
And these are, if you go from like where I came from, and the only thing that you do while you're in pharmacy school, you work as an intern and you make $12 an hour. Back home in Pennsylvania, it was $12 an hour. Yeah. And when you're done, you go from having a job where you're making less than $20,000 a year to a 6-figure salary, which everywhere else except for Southern California is pretty decent. And all of these pharmacists, as soon as they graduate, they have no idea what to do with it. They just think they won the lottery by going to work every day. And my wife and I, we fell victim to that. She graduated a year behind me. The first thing she did when she came out here, we got our $30,000 sign-on bonus for signing 3 years with Walgreens. She went to Desert European Motor Cars and bought an Audi TT at the time. That was the first thing she did. That's the smartest. That's the amount of financial literacy you get. So here is someone with a professional degree, and the first thing they decide to do before they get a house, before they save any money, they're living in an apartment, and they go buy a brand new car.
Well, I have and my journey when I first made a bunch of money, right, from going from level 1 to dropping out of college to making several million a year, I didn't avoid consumer debt, right? I had a lot of fun and I don't regret any of it, but I made a lot of bad choices. So I had a Porsche and I had all these beautiful cars and a beautiful home, and I had some investments, but I was full of debt. And so when the recession hit, my income dropped and all my properties were revalued and banks were asking me to pay down loans, fucking lost everything.
Yeah.
So during the reset, when I came back, I went through several years making very low money, and then I started making a bunch of money again. And I said, I'm not going to make the same mistakes. I have a daughter now. I'm married. I went and bought a little Volkswagen CC. I think it was like $9,000. And I drove it for like 4 or 5 years, and I was making millions a year. And I bought that house at Versailles, which was nice, but I was like, man, I'll just stay here forever and I'll just keep buying them. And I just kept buying investment properties because it scared me and it forced me. That correction was like, shit, you got a second chance because you're still kind of young. How do you become a millionaire twice in America? Forget just once. I did it twice. I can't fuck up a second time.
Yeah, take that, Trump.
Yeah. So
I'm just kidding.
So I think learning to save and budgeting, learning an investment strategy. Mine was commercial real estate. Yours could be stock, could be your business, could be yourself if you're a comedian, investing in yourself. But you got to learn that, right?
Israelis, it's America. They're investing in our politicians.
Please cut that out of the show.
But it's true. I thought about that. I'm like, they're just investing in their future. Makes sense.
No, I think if you were a different kind of person and you didn't have the constitution that you have, that first time would have destroyed you, and you would have led a very different life for the rest of it. But you decided that this is what you want to do. And sometimes going through that very difficult thing can embolden you and make you stronger. And you obviously learned, you evaluated everything that happened and made all the right decisions going forward. So, I applaud you, sir, for having the kind of stuff inside that can make $1 million in America and then lose it all and then make it back again.
Going from eating generic Cheerios with water because mom couldn't afford milk.
It was powdered milk.
We had powdered milk also.
It was very good. It's creamy.
To servants.
I don't have servants. Knock it off. You were going to say something.
Oh, I have a few
Tell
friends.
us more about servants. Did you grow up with servants?
Did you grow up with? Did they pick out your shoes growing up?
He had many shoes.
He had many shoes.
Go ahead, Ben. Leave Ben alone.
Sorry, Ben.
He's the rich kid on the panel.
Actually, my grandparents did have servants at one point in time.
Were they black?
I knew it.
And
it was it's like a weird.
Is that a quote?
This isn't at all what I want to talk about.
let him talk.
No, like literally like a cook.
Let the rich kid talk.
A cook and a butler and all that stuff. Like were. It wasn't for a very long period of time, but I distinctly remember like there were a few family meals where like at their house, like in their gazebo outside, where like people served us the meal that they cooked for us, like in
That's
maid
a big word.
Mr. Belvedere shit going on.
Mr. Belvedere.
It was a trip.
Did
like,
they beat the servants?
I always saw like rich
they were
kids
very
growing
like
up as
faithful people.
What was it, silver spoons, where the kid had the cool house with the slides, and he had like, did you have all that?
No.
Oh man,
no. But cool. Anyways, what I was going to say is,
sorry,
I have a few friends that, and just so you know, more than half of the millionaires in America are self-made.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which is incredible.
Even though 70%.
It's like 70%. Even though it is such a low likelihood to go from a lower level to the 7th level, more than 50% of the people with that amount of money in America did exactly that, which I find kind of incredible. But I know, I have a few friends who have built their wealth themselves without really any help. And the story for me, in the way that I read them, is kind of always the same, which is they're too stubborn to allow failure to prevent them from being successful.
Yeah.
And inevitably, like the people that I know that are the wealthiest financially, almost all of them had some major loss early.
Yeah.
Like, one of my good friends' dads, who is one of the most successful people that I've ever known, he borrowed his first real estate development investment money from his wife, who they both.
There's freedom in poverty.
I was the older brother. It was my 4 younger brothers.
Three younger brothers.
Sorry, there's 4 of us, and then I have an older brother and an older sister. But
we would destroy everything.
These 3 kids would destroy the house. So, and I was very about like I would do the lawn and I would clean and I wanted the house presentable. And like I had 3 younger brothers that were psychos, and they would get hammers and punch fucking holes in walls and dump paint, and like the door would be off the head, and I'm like, all my toys are broken. And
we once
steal my clothes, and I'm like, dude, I can't wait to get.
So did you assume the role of parent? Is it safe to say that you kind of
Mike didn't really. Mike wasn't that. He would not be there. He would go hang out with his friends.
I would go live at my friend's house. Like I'd live at my friend's house for weeks at a time.
He would collect Matchbox cars.
All of my friends who have significant net worth that they have built themselves, they're all just stubborn. Yeah. They're ambitious, and they're not going to be defined by a loss that is not necessarily completely in their hands.
Yeah.
Well, that's I'm not surprised to hear the statistic that 70% of millionaires in America are self-made, because the people who realize that you can do just about anything in this country will be successful. What you were saying about that, like the people that you know that are really successful had some kind of really difficult thing happen early on. I was just watching the other day, Seth Rogen was talking about this. He talked about how you could be successful in getting into Hollywood and acting or whatever thing you want to do in that.
Slurp,
and he's like, the people that I know, he's like, the only thing that is across all of them is just not being defined by the failures, just keeping at it. If you decide to keep at it and have a little bit of talent, you will eventually find a way to make a living doing this if it's really what you love doing. And I think that
Seth
could be
Rogen?
in any industry.
Is Seth Rogen the one with the Late Show? Oh, Seth Rogen's the guy with the laugh, the weed guy.
Yeah, the weed guy. Pineapple
I was
Express.
thinking of
weed
Seth. What's the
guy?
guy with the late show? I was going to say like, and if you
Seth
try hard
Meyers.
enough, you too could have the late show.
It's really late.
late show.
That's Seth Meyers, I
That's
think.
Seth Meyers.
Seth
I was thinking of
Meyers.
him the whole time. Like, who's taking advice from
No,
Seth
it's just
Meyers?
it's
Seth
the
Rogen's a
doom
good one.
scrolling, and they were asking him, how do you make it in comedy, or how do you make it right, screenwriting or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's just like, the one thing that I could say is people that have just been consistent and decided, even though they've gone to 1,000 tryouts and never got a call back, finally eventually they'll find a breaking point. And
It's like the old Edison theory. Like he did
it's like
1,000 before he came up with the light bulb or
The
something.
most recent example of this is that guy who was in Breaking Bad, the Cuban guy. I can't remember his character's name, but now he's on that.
Tuco Salamante.
Well, now he's on that show, Gen V, which is The Boys. Like a spinoff from The Boys.
Yeah.
Oh,
The CEO guy in that. I wish I could remember his name. But he was trying to be an actor for like
the guy in Star Wars too. He's in like
40
The
years.
Mandalorian.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw him recently in Trading Places. You know, he's in Trading Places with
No
Eddie
idea.
Murphy.
No
He's in
idea.
the prison. You know the prison scene.
Yeah.
He's standing right behind him, and it was like our baby cousin said, "Oh, he's from Star Wars."
You mean the
Trip out.
like Pedro
Mandalorian guy.
Pascal?
No,
Not Pedro.
I was like,
Stop mixing all Latin people together, racist.
But
No, what's his
say
name?
anything that sounds
but I know who you're talking about.
No, like I was just seeing an interview with him not that long ago, and he was like, yeah, I mean, I basically tried to be an actor for like 40 years, or this really, really long period of time, and he was like, I was like waiting tables or whatever, and he was like, and then just all of a sudden it switched. He just never quit.
Yeah, 40-year
He just kept
overnight
doing it.
success. That's
That's the
Yeah, he
whole,
just kept going.
That's literally like the secret sauce. Really, just never quitting.
Well, it's
Grit.
manifestation, and the more you believe you're going to reach a goal, you're going to reach the goal. Now, if I say I want to manifest winning the lotto, and there's a million people also manifesting that, you're not going to. But if you want to really manifest something, the only thing that's in your way is other competition, because we're in this world, this game where everybody's manifesting together and different goals. So you're going to run into other people. If I want to buy this property and you want to buy it too, we're going to have to compete for it. And I may not get it, even though I really believe I was going to buy it. But outside of money, I think growing up in that environment, we didn't have healthy patterns. And some of the traditions that we had weren't great either, right? So part of that of leveling up is creating brand new traditions. And like when I was younger with my wife, she had a very similar upbringing. Her family worked in the farms, right? We have to bring prayer into the house. We didn't have that as a kid. We have to eat together every night. We have to show affection. Like I show a lot of affection to the kids. In both directions. They fuck up, I'm right there disciplining them. But I make it easy so they can talk to me. Communication has to be huge. Talk openly. And just creating these healthy patterns with your kids, and even like celebrating their growth. Not like every like participation ribbon, but real growth.
Yeah.
Every night I do the prayers with the kids, right? We all get together, and every other day we'll meditate and pray. But every day I'll sit there with them and I'll ask them a different question that promotes them to live in a more positive light. So I'll sit there with my kids last night and I say, what did you do that was kind today to someone? And they'll have to sit there and think, oh, I pulled out a share for so-and-so and I helped pick something up. It's not that I want them to repeat it. It's tomorrow I might ask that question And they're going to say, what am I going to do nice tomorrow for someone?
Yeah.
What did someone do nice for you? So they recognize when someone's being kind to them, and they have to remember and recall. And so all these little lessons that you can teach at bedtime, it's like that's your time with your kids, because they've been with the school all day, and I've been at work. I'm only going to see them for like an hour. So I'm going to make sure they get bathed. We're going to eat together, and then we're going to sit down, and I'm going to spend a few minutes with them.
When I hear you talk like this, I realize how dysfunctional, like, growing up the way that I grew up was. When you hear like your father sat down and said a prayer with you and like asked you what you did kind today, then I think about like the kind of stuff that I did when I was there. My first concert with my mother was Motley Crue and Whitesnake. She took me to the girls.
Awesome.
Me and my mom went to that, and I remember getting high with my mother in like third grade.
Trip out.
Those are the kind of things that I remember, and I love. Honest to God, I had a great relationship and still do with my mom.
Yeah,
but like.
Different upbringing.
Totally
some parents
together.
Want to be the friend.
She was being kind. She was sharing her weed with me and stuff, but
as long as you kids do in the house, that type of mom.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, there were like, I bet if my memory was clearer, I bet there were sometimes like 2 to 3 week periods where my dad and I wouldn't have said a word to each other.
Seriously,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. That's like an unhealthy environment where your dad was just disconnected, not present.
Yeah, totally disconnected.
And that probably led you to your first pass where you're like, I'm going to come home and think about work. I'm disconnected, because you grew up in that. And it happens, you know? And so me having to stop and say, well, hold up. I got kids now. What am I going to do different?
Yeah.
And like, I literally had to like make it up. Like, I wasn't sure.
My mom was a single
this?
parent. I didn't ever see a picture of my dad till I was in my 30s. I never met him until I was in my 30s. She was a single mom until I was about 2, almost 3 years old. Then she got married to my stepfather, who eventually adopted me. But we had no connection. He was a 6 feet, 2 inches tall. He was Mr. Wyoming Valley, third in Mr. Pennsylvania bodybuilder. Definitely did not look like my dad. So it was obvious all the time. And I felt like I was always like trying to earn or win his affection and things. And we never connected until I was in high school and started wrestling. He thought I was, queer. Just in general, like that just was kind of how he treated me, because I was
We
small.
all thought you were until I learned you were not.
Wait, back to your pharmacy. So you can get me pills?
But that's the thing is like,
Wait a minute here.
I think that I attribute my drive to that was like always trying to like vie for an affection of a man who didn't really, I wasn't his, and we didn't really connect or anything until late into high school. And then I joined the military and moved away and all that stuff. But yeah, that was really kind of the dysfunction there, is like always like not feeling good enough or inadequate in so many ways.
Were you raised in the 80s?
Yeah, I was born in
the 80s, I mean, were a trip. I mean, literally out of the house. You don't come in the house.
Yeah.
You make it on your own. And there at 10 o'clock, the nation had to remind parents they had children. Remember
the show?
There was a commercial. Do you know where your children are?
10 o'clock.
We were
Do you
like,
know where your children are?
Parents in second grade, and we would stay out until it got dark.
Yeah,
you didn't come home until it was dark.
That's how it is. We would hear Anthony, Michael, and we, ride
stayed outside.
our Huffies back.
Yeah, no,
Like if I told my kids to go outside now, like on the weekend or whatever, they'd be like, "What? Outside?
No,
Are you kidding me?"
We never went inside. It was a whole different world.
Yep. For sure.
Yeah.
And I'll real quick finish this darn list up, but
Come on. I love
sorry,
this
there's only
list.
2 more. You can't have fear. So you have to walk with purpose, not fear. And the most repeated phrase in the Bible is do not fear. And I was full of fear, and fear turned into anger and like doubt. So doubt, trauma, and fear, it'll sabotage every single dream you have, right? Family, business, marriage, personal growth. So when your purpose becomes louder than your pain, success becomes unavoidable. And it's like, you cannot have fear. And then the last one that I didn't put on here.
That's 11.
10. There's 11.
Okay.
Because I skipped one.
A baker's dozen of.
Because this one I kind of thought of after I wrote it, but and it's very important. And this is what everyone, I feel
brothers.
99% of the successful people forget this, because everyone that I know is successful is not balanced. You have to have balance. And balance, like I've taken that to the next degree, where I'm like, fuck it, I'm not working. I'm going to go to Europe with my family, because that's way more important. Because on my deathbed, when all those memories flash of my life, it's not going to be me cashing a $10 million check or working really hard or some business deal I did. It's going to be those moments I have with my children and my loved ones and my friends. That's it. You might have some of work, but it has to be balance. And balance means yourself. I have time where I'm by myself and I go work out and I go to jiu-jitsu and I take care of myself and I go to my doctor and I take my vitamins and I do whatever I need to do for myself. It means balance with your partner, your wife. We go on a date every week. I take her on a date. Every quarter I take her on a trip, just the two of us. And the kids are, where are you going on another trip? I'm like, if the foundation is broken, if me and your mom are not married, we become just business partners raising kids, fucking family's over. So money, you got to be able to keep the house, roof over your head, the bills paid, all that. That's part of balance. And if you don't have balance in your life, and it's very easy to just get focused on work or focused on having fun or focused on being the best dad and just volunteering for every kid. I'm going to be the coach on every show, right? And then he's like not going to work and they can't pay the bills and then you're ignoring your wife, right? So it's harder than getting out of poverty, I think, is finding balance. And that's something that I continue to work on. And like, I'm doing this show because I needed time just to hang out with some friends and shoot the shit. Like, literally, this is part of balance. This is like my time. So that's the end of the list.
While looking at your 7 levels of income, Dante had his levels too. Reminds me of, what's that show? Oh, Office Space? Yeah,
it's when you're poor, you're in hell. You're in the 7th level of hell.
Where he's like,
so this list is inverse to Dante.
Yeah.
But money's really about freedom and to make those other experiences to create a balanced life. It's really hard to have a balanced life and take your wife on.
It really is because if you're in level 1, all you're thinking about is money.
Or 3, all you're thinking about is paying the bills, and every month those fucking.
I honestly feel you could be at almost
level 1 and level 7. Probably think about money. Think about money a lot. I would imagine. Not everybody in level 7, but I think a lot of people in level 7 and a lot of people in level 1 think about money. Probably equal amounts.
Almost all these levels, you could have balance and still live an extremely wealthy life. I really, truly believe.
Yeah, I mean, balance doesn't have to be, going to Europe for a month, right? Like,
no,
there's lots of examples of it.
And the level of poverty is really,
stuff.
And it's regional. There's a lot that goes into it. I saw something that popped up on Instagram or something today, talked about within a certain amount of years, I think it's something like 60 or 80% of the homes are going to be owned by a couple companies. What we once saw.
That guy.
No.
No, what we once saw as this is what makes you, quote, successful or wealthy or a good American is now becoming so far out of reach to almost everyone that things are going to change.
Redefining the American
we're
dream.
going to be looking at like wealth very differently next generation. Growing up in the 80s, like we said, wealth was very different than it is in the 90s. Now
I think the newest generation, it does put freedom of movement and trips and experiences way higher than like home ownership was that was like the pinnacle of middle class.
Now, if you get enough likes on your TikTok post, you're richer than the guy that's next to you, not monetarily, but you feel, you know what I mean?
This is driven by the economics of it, but then a lot of us with boomer parents are like having to clean out multiple storage spaces of shit that they bought and never used or collected and never used. And I feel like a lot of us have witnessed stuff trap our parents in a way. Yeah. Like, my parents, like my dad loves having things to take care of. So like he's always had ranches. And he loves to like take care of them. Like he likes to stay busy working on the ranch. But like, my parents are in their 70s. They could be traveling more and this kind of stuff. But he's like, I can't leave the ranch. Like I gotta take care of it, right? Yeah. And for me, it's, I look at that and I, on the one hand, I admire it because like, I admire like people who work hard, and have that as an ethos. But on the other hand, it's like, I don't want to be trapped by stuff. Like I want to be able to find balance with everyone And, you know, that doesn't mean me always being busy with shit that I own.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like fun to me.
Yeah. And
the
so
only ranch I want to
think,
take care of is next to my chicken wings.
Yeah. So I think there's like a pivot. There's a pivot away from like physical objects or obligations being a sign of success. And it's almost becoming the inverse where it's like,
no kids, take trips.
No, I can live out of a van because I have such little stuff and such little obligations. Like that is like the sign of like wealth to me more than I have everything.
You can live out of a van, record it, and put it on the internet and make money doing that.
When I see stuff, I'm like, ooh, that looks like an anchor. Yeah,
it's an anchor, and that's my whole thing. Is I'm quasi nomad. I can't stay in the same spot too long. Right now, I'm looking at my place. I moved there in a van. Like literally in a van full of stuff from New York during the pandemic. Now I have so much shit. I'm trying to marketplace this stuff. If anyone wants a piano from 1895, I don't know where it came from, but it's a classic. You could have it. No, and I don't know what to do. And I'm sitting there going, like, I'm panicking.
You woke up from a bender with
I'm
a
at
piano.
the point where I want to move. And what am I going to do? Move this piano to Dallas? No, it's...
Why am I sleeping on this piano?
Yeah, and I just feel like that you're absolutely right. I feel a lot of stuff is an anchor to me, personally.
And I don't disagree that there's a movement energetically to less materialism. And I think that's important for humanity, and that's growth for all of humanity because it's really not important. But I'm going to give you guys because we're wrapping up the show, I want to give you guys some statistics
from
1960 to today.
Oh, here we go.
So in 1960, the average income was $5,600 in California. The household income was $5,600. The average house was only $15,000. The median home. Today, in California, the median home is $905,000. And the average median household income in California is $80,000.
Whoa.
To be able to afford a new medium-priced home in California, you have to earn $232,000 a year as a household, which means only 20% of Californians can afford a home.
I believe it.
Where in 1960, it was 3 months fucking salary or 3 years salary, and you had your house paid for. So this is a longer discussion on
Let's
all
bring
the
in
reasons
the 50-year
why.
mortgage. That'll save it.
That was a horrible idea.
Oh my God, that's the worst idea I've ever heard.
You know.
And then we look at, and real quick, I'll just talk about part of it. I think is obviously the Federal Reserve and our banking and how that's all handled with inflation. So inflation hits us both ways. It's both income and it's cost of goods. So they're hidden in both areas, and we're getting hit with both ways, but they only tell us about one. Also, government just getting over involved in everything, and when they get over involved, San Francisco is like the mecca of like dysfunction, and that's why it has one of the most expensive real estate markets in the world. Is San Francisco. It could take you 15 years to entitle a project in San Francisco if you need to change the zoning. Yeah. Guys, 15 years.
Yeah.
So I buy a property and I have to sit there and hold it for 15 years.
Yeah.
30% of your development costs is just fees to the government to be able to build on my own property. If you look at hold costs, taxes, insurance, and God forbid you had a mortgage for 15 years, add that on to your development costs, that's why no one's building. You can't financially do it. The actual costs in San Francisco, like your hard costs, is 50%. The other 50% is all bullshit. So that's part of the problem. You can't build more homes, Mr. San Francisco.
They couldn't even build a public toilet. Remember that? It cost like $5 million in like 10 years to build a toilet, a public toilet.
I've built in San Francisco. I mean, the stories I have.
You're rich.
The stories I have, you can't believe.
My servants built it.
Yeah.
That's insane. I don't understand. I really don't understand.
It's not like that everywhere. That's why I started building in Austin. That's why I set up dude, I could be in and out with a permit same day. But
crazy.
I was doing
Same day?
Same day.
I love Texas.
It's not like that anymore.
No.
Just so you know, it's not that way anymore. But when I moved there in 2015, I could get in and out same day.
It's still a lot easier than California.
It still is. Yeah.
And one more list just so you guys can take this in because this is kind of crazy. In 1971, the minimum wage was $1.60 per hour. If you worked 40 hours, you could buy 1.82 ounces of gold with your paycheck.
Whoa. Oh, I thought you were going to say cocaine.
Today, that same amount of gold would be worth $6,000, which means to match the buying power of minimum wage back then, Minimum wage today would have to be $150 an hour. So let that fucking sink in.
For buying power of gold? That's amazing.
That's buying power of your capital.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, gold isn't appreciating. The dollar's just losing value.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's scary.
Well,
so
gold's not appreciated. I thought gold appreciates like steadily, right? Doesn't it?
Yeah,
Am I wrong?
Absolutely appreciates, but it should like if our money was tied to gold,
still tied to gold is what you're saying.
We wouldn't need $150 an hour compared to what, right?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts.
What's minimum wage? Like
it's
$19?
Well, it depends. In California,
well, the federal minimum wage is like $7.50, isn't
so
it?
$7.50. You got to make $150.
I'm sorry. I've been in my bracket too long. I have no idea.
No, in
He
California.
doesn't know how much milk costs.
Yeah.
Like his servants get him.
No, shut the fuck up.
They go in
Ladies
and
and
get the milk for
gentlemen,
him.
Treasury Secretary
No,
Scott Bessent.
I'm actually embarrassed to admit I don't know what the minimum wage
No, I
is
think
anymore.
it's
In
confusing
California,
to me.
it's different because there's like
different brackets in
$20 an
California.
hour for like food service industry,
Right.
and then the Governor Newsom had this thing for healthcare workers where it's supposed to be 25,
Yeah.
but then like pharmacy technicians make way less
Because
than that.
Texas,
So there's like
it's
it depends
national. It's like $15 an hour or something or whatever. It's like
$7.50.
$7.50. But if you're in a tipping position, it's like $2.20.
Yeah,
Well, that's
waiter
what I
wage
made.
is
When I was a
different,
waiter,
yeah.
I made like $2 an hour plus
Nothing.
tips.
$2.25. I remember
That's
making $2.25
crazy.
plus tips. So the government, the people that we put in charge, and then a private bank devalues everything. It's all 100% their fault. They devalue our money and they put little band-aids on it by raising minimum wage, which adds to inflation. So
because they
it's
raise
just-
minimum wage, everything can potentially go up.
And
right?
I think money is freedom. Money is part of everything that you see. Something that somebody produces, whether it's food or a home or a car or a watch or clothes for your kids or school, better school for your kids. It's all money. So we can say, yeah, I can live in a van and be just as happy. But at the end of the day, we live in a society where it's imbalanced, and it's almost like we're being taught to keep it imbalanced instead of teaching people these simple 10 rules, or now 11, which I think anyone can take, honestly. And if they truly believed and worked towards it, they would move right up. But it's becoming harder and harder with inflation and the current state of our economy. It's just going to get worse and worse. But we're going to leave you guys on a bad note.
All
So-
right. And for
Thank you.
$199, all you viewers, you can subscribe to the Mike Mead.
And he'll come to your house
Wealth.
and he'll tell you what to do, tell you what you're doing wrong.
You got the 11 steps, right?
Yeah.
Put the 11 steps on your wall. Let's go through them.
Yeah.
Him and
Mike's
the
a
ShamWow
Scientology
guy
now.
who's
Hold
running
this
for
magnet.
running
I'll
for
tell you
Congress.
where your
Isn't he
bracket
running
is.
for Congress or something? I read that today.
I'm writing a book.
Yeah.
I'm
I
going to
thought
do
the
a book
ShamWow
signing.
guy died
died?
after a Coke binge, getting hit in the head on
No, I
a.
thought that was the slap
died?
chop, the nuts guy.
Oh, that was a
Everybody
different
loves
guy.
their
That
nuts.
guy was on coke when he's filming, wasn't he?
what?
Oh yeah, for
Dude,
sure.
he was on coke.
Who?
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you,
whatever.
everybody.
Bye, guys.
See you later.
Later.
Cheers.